a show. It's a podcast show. Welcome to the Julie Cross Podcast Show. Empowering, energising and entertaining. Hi there, Julie Cross here. A bit of Loving with Autism update story time for you now. As many of you know, I do my emotions and I do my happy and my sad, and sometimes I do them all at once. And I think that with these stories, it really does demonstrate that we are allowed to find humour in all kinds of ways at all kinds of moments, because these are stories around the graveyard, my husband's grave, and they all happened at different times after my husband obviously had passed away. Now, the first time was, Thomas was 8 when my husband passed away, and he didn't have a lot of language then and a lot of understanding and a lot of concrete understanding of what was going on. So we were driving into the cemetery, and as we drove into the cemetery, we went past the chapel, and there were no cars or anything at the chapel. And, of course, Thomas remembered it, spilling out. There were hundreds of people at my husband's funeral, so there were no cars or anything. And as we drove past, Thomas looks at the chapel and goes, "Well, look at that, Mum, heaven's shut today." And I said, "Oh, darling, that's called a chapel, and it is shut today, but heaven's always open, Thomas. Heaven's always open." So we are allowed to find the amusement in these moments. And there was another time, and it didn't start out very amusing, but it was the week after my husband had been buried, and the three of us, myself and my two boys, went out to see Flash, and it was still at the point where the dirt was all heaped up on top of the grave, and it was raining the day we buried him, and we'd had rain all that week as well, and the dirt was kind of heaped up, and we were standing there, and Jack was having a cry, and I was giving him a cuddle, and we were having this moment, and next thing you know, we turn around because Thomas is screaming. He had walked up onto that mound of dirt, and he was sinking into the grave like it was quicksand. I swear to God, it was like Flash was pulling him down from underneath, and all we could see was Thomas sinking into this dirt. So he's screaming. I'm going, "Oh my God, let him go, Flash." And Jack's like, "Oh, this is just great." So we literally had to grab an arm each and drag him out. He had mud all up his legs. I couldn't find anything to wipe him off. All I could find was my socks. I had to take my socks off to wipe all this dirt off his legs so that we could get back in the car to leave. And I just remember saying to my husband, "Are you right? Like, we've tried to come out and have a nice time with you, and I know you probably think this is really funny, but it's just not." And Jack's just like so embarrassed because these other people in the grave are looking over at us and all this screaming and carrying on. It looks like this kid's disappearing into a grave. But, we have to laugh. Like, it took another few weeks before I could really laugh at that. But we got to laugh at these moments. And then there was one more time. And I started feeling like we were like the Truman Show, like the Kent family, or my married name's Kent. The Kent family are like the Truman Show, that somebody on another planet's actually watching us live reality show on their TV, and they're going, "Look, the Kents are going back to the grave. They're going back to the grave. Turn your televisions on." So another time we go back again, and this time I dropped Jack off at rugby, and he was playing close by. So I said to Thomas, "Come on, we'll go and see Daddy." So we go out to the grave, and there's kind of like the cement things where the headstones sit, and they've got these holes in them where you put flowers, so they're like a little cylinder and you put your flowers in. So I'm sitting on this cement thing, having a quiet moment and having a bit of a tear, and Thomas is wandering around pinching things off other people's graves. We put them back. And anyway, and so then my keys are on my lap, and as I go up to leave, somehow those keys had gone from my lap down into this cylinder, and so I can't get them out. I can't get my keys out. My hands aren't big enough to fit down there to grab the keys. It's too deep. My fingers can't reach them. And so now Thomas is screaming, "Daddy, give back our keys. We want to go." And I'm crying, going. And I'm just screaming at my husband saying, "Look, we won't come back. If you're going to keep doing this, we won't come back. You think this is really funny? It's not funny." I had to ring my mother to come and bring a coat hanger to get the keys out. We were crying. But, looking back, that is so my husband's sense of humour, and he would have found that all very amusing, and perhaps he was trying to tell me, "You don't have to come out here and sit and be sad if you don't want to, I'm okay." But we're allowed to look back and find the funny moments in all of that, and especially when I know, as I said, that was so my husband's sense of humour, and he had this great sense of humour, and he loved to laugh in all kinds of situations. So we are invited to find the joy. So Thomas has helped me do that along the way in so many ways. And so, yeah, they're our graveside stories. But recently I took him back, and how interesting is this in the way that he processes his emotion, because recently I took him back and he stood there looking at the grave, and I got this great photo of him standing there contemplating, just with his arms crossed, looking down at the grave, and he said to me, "Mum, how come I don't feel very sad today?" Now, what a moment, what a great moment for him to be able to express to me his emotions in that time, and for him to verbally say what all happens is that time does heal, and over time we do feel less sad, and that's actually okay too, and we need to give ourselves permission for that. So it was really wonderful for me to hear him say that. And then I had the opportunity to say back to him, "Well, Thomas, that's because, it's healing. You like your body heals when your body gets a cut, so does your heart. And your heart's feeling better now. And so we'll always miss Daddy, but we get less sad about it as time goes on." And it's like he invited me to do the same. So many moments of learning and laughing with autism along for the ride. Thank you.
Love to hear your thoughts about this show, or if there is something that you would love discussed on the Julie Cross podcast show, then please head over to iTunes and leave a review. Love to hear from you.